Hey guys, Besa Gordon here. Happy Wednesday. So, today on Rewind with Besa, here's what we're talking about. Of course, I have to give you guys some events that you can get into. We're doing an update on monkeypox. Child, apparently, some human gave their dog monkeypox. We're talking about all the shootings that happened over the weekend. I have an update on that driver who ended up killing 6 people in LA after she decided to go 90 miles an hour through a freaking light. Swizz Beats and Timbaland are apparently about to sue Triller for $28 million. And we just might be able to get into some Kanye West news if we have time, okay? All of that is going on right here today on Rewind with Besa. Let's start with something light, okay? Events. Do not forget, Friends of Waterfront always has something for you to do. All the events are free. You're by the water. And honestly, you guys, we only have a little bit of summertime left, so you might as well utilize it if you need to work out, you want some drinks, you want some good music, you just want to be around dope people. Pull up to Friends of Waterfront Seattle Spirit 62. Trust and believe you will not waste your time, and you will honestly probably meet some new friends. Everyone I've ever met there has been a vibe. Now, in not so light news, remember when I mentioned that apparently a human recently gave their dog monkeypox? Check this out, you guys. Look at these numbers real quick. The first time I showed you the monkeypox graph, we were at 154 for the state of Washington. Now we are over 300 for the state of Washington, okay? Here's my tingling. If it is now passing on to dogs and animals, we really have a problem because think about it. That means that other dogs can pass it on to other dogs and they can probably pass it on to you. But check out what they are reporting, okay? According to CBS News, France has the first suspected documented human to dog transmission of monkeypox. The dog contracted the virus by sleeping in its owner's bed. CBS News also reports the case involves 2 men partners living together but not sexually exclusive. They began showing symptoms of the virus a few days after sleeping with other partners. 12 days after they showed signs, their 4-year-old greyhound tested positive for the virus. And now scientists are saying our findings should prompt debate on the need to isolate pets from monkeypox virus positive individuals. Like I said, you guys, my problem with this is it's not supposed to be something that humans get. Now, somehow, some human done got near an animal. Now it's passing around from human to human. And now humans are passing it on to their little dogs. Little dogs might pass it on to other little dogs. Like, this is a problem. So, in case you actually missed my interview with Dr. Nelson, I did talk to him about monkeypox, where it comes from, and I also asked him, how can you protect yourself from this virus? Because you guys know it's not just something that you can get sexually. Like, if you're talking to someone and they like sneeze or something like that, you can still catch it. So, of course, I ended up asking Dr. Nelson how we can protect ourselves. If you missed the interview, this is what he had to say. You can have a conversation with me, maybe
Right.
sneeze and something,
There you go. Right.
how do I protect myself without just walking around in, one of those clear bubbles?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, right? Because we just kind of got out of, not got out of it, but we're getting more comfortable with just the precautions for COVID. And now we jump back into kind of the same kind of scenario. A couple things about monkeypox that I think people should know. Monkeypox is it's one of those things where it can survive pretty well, especially in kind of like dark areas. UV light is very susceptible to, so in the sun it's susceptible, but dark areas, dark rooms, things of that nature, it can actually exist. We've started to see in some studies up to about 15 days. So if you're exposed or if you're around someone that's had monkeypox or you're in their environment, you just got to kind of be aware that everything needs to be clean. You got to use a disinfectant and clean. And they recommend like what we call a wet disinfectant, meaning like a spray or like a wet wipe or something of that nature, to cleanse down everything, anything that person has touched. And so that's really where we're at with it now, as far as just staying ahead of it and making sure we're not spreading it.
Now, of course, you can see my full interview with Dr. Nelson by just going through my Rewind with Besa playlist. I want to say it was episode 10. If you scroll back, I made sure that I put what episode that it was on there, but it's a very good and very, very informative interview that I think everyone should check out if monkeypox is something that you are interested in. And honestly, you should be, because it seems to be trying to let us know that it's going to be here for a second. Now, in local news, you guys, there was like a freaking bloodbath over the weekend. Like, I don't know what is going on, but I do know that I've never actually been one to leave the house and get ready to go out and be like, okay, so where am I going? Who might be there? Who's putting down this event? Like, I've never had to think about so much whenever I get ready to go out until these last couple months. Like, and this last weekend, I was literally on Instagram and I seen a post by WCTV and it showed a video of people at a bar and they was just living their best lives. And then all of a sudden, it was a massive shootout. So check this out. According to Como News, following a weekend where a man was slain and 8 others suffered gunshot wounds during a spat of violence, the chief of Seattle Police Department on Monday called for calm as the city leaders work to devise solutions to address surging gun violence in the city. Seattle logged several shootings over a 3-day span, including incidents where a 14-year-old girl and 16-year-old boy were hurt. Some of the gun violence was captured early Saturday on cell phone video as 80 rounds of gunshots were fired at a sports bar near T-Mobile Park just after midnight Saturday. Check out this news clip and I'm going to come back with my thoughts.
We're talking about people's lives, people's families, and everybody's safety. Community leaders say there has to be value in that. And right now, it's not just police who are stretched thin. Chilling chaos playing out on the cell phone video as bullets start flying and terrified people dug for cover at a bar near T-Mobile Park. It was just after midnight Saturday. Police say a 14-year-old girl was shot in the leg and another man grazed in the head. 80 rounds were fired in the gun battle.
I'm sad and frustrated, and what are we doing? What are we gonna do?
Officers seized 12 guns from private security guards working at the bar to see if any of them were used in the shooting. SPD's African American Community Advisory Chair says enough is enough.
People know that there aren't enough police, so they're gonna shoot everywhere or break the law, because who's gonna hold them accountable?
This weekend started off violent after a man and woman in their 20s were shot in an alley on South Orchid Street. Then early Saturday morning, police say a man was found at Cal Anderson Park lying on the sidewalk with gunshot wounds. He died. SPD stats show so far 28 people have been murdered in Seattle. 42 were killed last year.
These are our young children, men and women dying. Does anybody care?
The summer of violence is happening at a time when one of the busiest hospitals is strained.
Right now, our resilience is probably at an all-time low, if we're honest.
This week, Harborview Medical Center says it's being forced to turn patients away if they don't need urgent care.
We are coming at this at a time when we are seeing more and more stress on the healthcare system, more and more disasters, whether it be natural disasters or people-generated disasters.
With SPD still trying to fill up the short-staffed ranks, activists are calling on the community to step up through programs and prevention to curb the troubling trend.
As far as SPD, the only thing I could say is more police, but we don't have that, and we're not going to have that for a long time. So maybe it is up to the community to put their foot down and say, we're not going to allow this anymore.
Yeah, that's right. It happened in the park that's right over there, right behind my shoulder. Police say one of the victims is now out of the hospital, but they are still looking for suspects. Scene video from overnight in Renton at Ron Regis Park shows the law enforcement and medical responders after authorities say 4 teenagers were shot during a large party with 50 to 60 people attending.
There was a invite sent out from somebody via social media, and the person that sent out that invite was saying, hey, we're all getting together to say goodbye to our our friends who are leaving for college.
Today, Renton police spokesperson telling us this all happened around 11:30 last night, saying those at the party were high school graduate-aged people in their late teens.
Sounds like a dispute between a group precipitated the shooting. What that dispute was about, I'm not sure. We do know that there were over 100 casings located by officers, and due to the caliber, there's at least 2 guns that were in play. But as the investigation continues, because we collected an awful lot of evidence.
The ages of the 4 victims range from 17 and 19 years old. Police say at least 1 is out of the hospital. The remaining have serious to critical injuries, but authorities say they are non-life-threatening.
This is wild, you guys. So check out these stats. According to SPD crime data, violent crimes this year are on track to surpass the 2021 numbers. On average, 15 violent crimes were reported daily in 2021. It's 16 a day this year. There have been more than 3,500 violent crimes reported. There were 5,300 all of last year, which was already the highest in the past 4 years. I just feel like it's one of those things where it's so unfortunate that you can't just go to a party and just have a good time. It's so unfortunate that people have so little regard and respect for other people's lives that you would shoot off 80 rounds in a damn bar. Like, at the point of 80 rounds, you're not even just potentially shooting people in the bar. You're shooting people that are just riding by on those damn scooters. Like, I just don't understand what makes people so angry to where they do that. And sometimes it's the liquor. Let's be honest. Sometimes it's the liquor. I do kind of wonder how all these freaking guns were even able to get into that bar, because it looks like they were having a party. So maybe they decided not to check anybody. But also, I just feel like people should have more respect for people's establishments. People should have more respect for the people that just have nothing to do with whatever freaking beef that you have going on. Like, obviously, nobody wants for you to sit here and have to like have a shootout or anything like that, but at least have like a man-to-man, woman-to-woman fight somewhere where nobody else has to be involved in it. The simple fact that you have all these damn people having to duck for their lives, 80 freaking rounds, you could have damn near took out that whole bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand. And part of me not understanding, I don't know, could be because I just didn't come from that lifestyle, but I also just don't know what can be done. You know what I mean? Like, is there something going on within like the gangs out here? Like, what is happening to where all of this shooting is happening? Like, all this drama is happening. Like, we should be able to come together, put on something cute, and not have to worry about if my heels are too difficult for me to run in or duck in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have to worry about that when I go out. It's already bad enough I got to freaking worry about COVID and monkeypox. Now I got to look for bullets flying over my head. Like, I just feel like if you got beef with someone, stay your ass at home. Like, I don't want to be a part of your beef. I didn't do anything, but yet I'm potentially going to have to go to the hospital because you wanted to sit here and shoot up a club, or like in Minnesota, you wanted to go shooting at the mall. Like, I just don't understand this whole wild, wild west mentality. Like, this is not a live episode of Power or even The Wire. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to simmer down. Seriously. So it's one of those things where I could sit here and be like, this is what we need to do. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I would love to hear from everybody else. What do you guys think that needs to happen? Do you feel like a peace march would, help? Do you feel like a peace rally? Do you feel like someone needs to come out and speak to the gangs? I mean, last I checked, we had that whole freaking street czar guy that popped up during the whole Chop Chaz situation. What the heck ever happened to him? He ended up getting paid, what, a couple $100,000? And I really have probably seen him on the news like 2 or 3 times since then. And anytime I look him up, it's like something old. So like, is his contract expired? Did he disappear when Jenny Durkin disappeared? I just have questions, because last I checked, his whole job was to make sure that he was having conversations with people in the streets. And so if that's his job and he's still on contract, good sir, You're not doing a very good job. And I would like to know what your plan is, along with what the mayor's plan is, simple rather than just calling for change. Like, what are you going to do, sir, to calm down these damn streets? Because I I don't want to go to brunch and have to worry about having to duck with my eggs. Like that's not the vibe that I'm going for when I get dressed and I get my nails done and I put on a cute little outfit and I put on some smell good perfume. Like that's not cute. That's not cute. That is not cute. And maybe I'm not supposed to understand, and that's okay. But if I'm not supposed to understand, can you please do us all a favor and find a way to keep the rest of us out of it? Because we didn't do anything. This doesn't like, child, this is Seattle, Washington. I'm gonna need y'all to chill out and simmer down with the rain. Anywho, when we come back, we have some updates on the girl that ended up getting in the car crash in LA and killing 6 other people. We also got to talk about Swizz Beats and Timbaland suing Triller over verses and more. You already know. Stay locked to Rewind with Besa. Guess what, you guys? Portland Hip Hop Week is August 20th through 27th, and Converge Media is proud to be an official partner. Of course, it's your buddy Besa Gordon here, and you already know the Converge team is literally going to head south on I-5 to celebrate hip-hop culture in the Rose City. Portland Hip Hop Week is literally jam-packed with dope events, including the Hip Hop Skate Party, hosted by DJ OG1, Hip Hop Wine and Chill at the Abbey Creek Winery. There's also a DJ workshop hosted by Grand Wizard Theodore, and let's not forget Portland Hip Hop Week's biggest night, the 2022 Star Wars, and this year they're celebrating women in hip hop. You can get more information by visiting pdxhiphopweek.com, and of course you can head over to my blog at jammin1075.com. Just search Besa. Welcome back to Rewind with Besa. So check this out. In an update for the not Young Thug, child. We ain't there yet. In an update for the traveling nurse that ended up killing those 6 innocent people over in Windsor Hills, California, they're saying that she was suffering from worsening mental health illnesses. I have some thoughts on that, but bear with me for a second. According to prosecutors, the defense has disclosed a number of prior incidents which appear to be increasing in severity, ranging from the defendant jumping on police cars to jumping out of apartment windows. Child, and she was a traveling nurse? Now, you guys know there was a rumor going around that she'd been in like 13 other car crashes. Well, they're saying that this was actually never any evidence that was submitted. So it's possible that that was another lie, but she was a traveling nurse. She'd hurt herself before. She'd been forcefully admitted. And she jumped out of a window, or at least tried to, and was jumping on police cars. I'm not saying that if you have mental issues, you shouldn't work, but I'm not sure if nursing was the right thing for her, and it's not my job to say what she can or can't handle, but according to these reports, Sis apparently had a really stressful life and didn't really know how to deal with it. Sis was battling with a whole lot. And if you're battling with a whole lot and you got a chemical imbalance, maybe being a nurse just might not be the job for you. However, I haven't seen anything in the filings that said she actually did anything that harmed anyone at work. So maybe when she was at work, she was at peace. And maybe there was just something that happened that particular day that really just set her off. But whoo, child. I'm still waiting for them to get us a statement from her. She's not due back in court until August 31st. Apparently, when they went to court on Monday, she wasn't there, and the judge wants for her to come on the 31st. So we will see what happens on the 31st. This case is just, I don't know, you guys. It's a mess. There's a lot going on there. It's the whole mental health, crashing into all those cars, potentially having like a past of doing it. I don't know. I really feel like at this point, I need to hear from her to figure out what was going through your cranium when you did that. And do you even remember what was going through your mind? Because it's very easy for you to have a chemical imbalance moment and just black out. I'm just saying. Now, in other news, Young Thug is currently being sued for $150,000 by a promoter over a canceled show due to the rapper being in jail. In a nutshell, he was supposed to do a concert, a 45-minute set to be exact, for $300,000. So they gave him $150,000 up front, and then he was supposed to get the other $150,000 once he finished up his set. Well, because he's in jail, obviously he wasn't able to do the finishing of his set, let alone even the beginning of his set. And now the promoter is trying to contact YSL and get the money back, and they're not responding. So of course they're taking him to court. I'm wondering if there was anything in the contract that basically says anything about them having to give it back somehow, some way. And I'm also wondering if they're actually going to be able to get the money back from him because he's in jail. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. However, in other news, when it comes to Young Thug, because I just feel like, I don't know why, but almost every other day he has some drama going on. WSBTV is reporting that the Fulton County District Attorney says gang sympathizers, yes, I said sympathizers, are threatening a witness and their family in the ongoing criminal case against Young Thug and the 27 other alleged gang members. Check this tea out, you guys.
YSL enthusiasts and or actual gang members are threatening someone they believe is cooperating with the state. And not only that person, but their very small children.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis says discovery in legal terms is material one side turns over to another after an indictment to level the playing field before trial. And in the YSL gang racketeering case, in which Jeffrey Williams, better known as the megastar rapper Young Thug, is the best known of more than 24 defendants, the DA's office has discovered a discovery document and part of a cooperating witness's statement made it onto social media. And the life of that witness, a cooperating YSL associate, and that witness's children are in jeopardy as a result. Ms. Willis says authorities are still investigating who leaked the discovery material. A new indictment just last week added new charges against Young Thug and a handful of other defendants in the case. Young Thug's attorney, Brian Steele, and the DA seem to agree the discovery leak is bad.
Whomever is placing items of discovery online is not doing anybody a favor. It is totally inappropriate to try this case in social media. This case will be tried fairly and justly in Fulton County Superior Court.
Concerning the re-indictment, Steele said Mr. Williams has committed no crime whatsoever. I look forward to the commencement of the jury trial. The DA's office says it was happy with a July 6 order issued by the...
I really wonder who would get something out of doing that? And who would think it would be a good idea to leak that paperwork? Because here's the thing. When things like that happen, isn't it like possible for the whole case to get thrown out? Then they have to start all over again. Like, I don't see a case like this being a case where the whole case would just get tossed out and then Young Thug would be able to get out of jail. Like, I feel like it would potentially make it to where they have to start all over again. So being that you have sympathizers trying to get to this witness that, I mean, I would say for all we know, it's not even a real witness, but being that they're speaking on it, it's obviously a real witness. I wonder if it's like a clerk in the courthouse that just doesn't know any better, or if it was like a hacker that like hacked into something. Like, who would think that that was a good idea, and why would they think that was a good idea? So we'll have to stay tuned and see what people were thinking when they decided to do that, and then also how this particular moment is going to affect the case. Speaking of cases, apparently R. Kelly wanted for any jurors that actually seen surviving R. Kelly to not be allowed to be on his jury, and if I'm not mistaken, the judge denied that. In other judgment news, looks like Swizz Beats and Timbaland are suing Triller for, get this, $28 million over verses. Now, as some of you guys may or may not know, Swizz Beats and Timbaland actually sold Triller, or shall I say sold verses to Triller for $28 million, all right? According to the lawsuit obtained by TMZ, Swizz and Timbaland agreed to sell verses to Triller back in January 2021, but they say Triller defaulted on the deal after only 2 payments. Swizz and Timbaland say they settled with Triller after the initial default, but they say Triller played the same game as before, making one installment and then not paying up the remaining balance. The music moguls are going after Triller for more than $28 million plus interest. Apparently, TMZ ended up reaching out to Triller, and of course, they have not responded yet. So we'll end up seeing what Triller has to say about that. I don't understand why people go into these big $1 million, $1 billion deals just to pull out of it. Hopefully they are able to get their money back and maybe even get Versus back, because some people are saying that Versus is not the same now that Swizz Beats and Timbaland ended up selling it. Personally, I felt like Versus wasn't the same once they stopped doing it on cell phones anymore. I feel like when they were doing it on cell phones and they were like having janky Wi-Fi, like that's what made Versus fun. Okay, it was natural, it was organic, it wasn't all this whole audience and theatrics. Like, it was really personal, and it was almost like the two artists would interview each other during the verses, and then you would get all of these dope stories. It's not the same now. It's literally almost like a pissing contest and a freaking concert all rolled in one. Not saying that it isn't still entertaining, because that whole situation that happened between Omarion and Mario, and then you had Ray J and Pleasure P and everyone, that was very interesting. Not even gonna front. But it's still, it doesn't feel the same, okay? It's not like the one that I want to say Snoop Dogg and DMX did. It's not like the one that Too Short and E40 did. Like, those were a vibe. Now it's just like, okay, this is cool, but I would actually go back and watch the E40 and Too Short one, because it was a schmoody wood, So I don't know. Hopefully Timbaland and Swizz Beats will end up doing something else like Versus, either taking it back and bringing it back to the way that it originally was, or just creating something different. But I definitely miss how intimate that it used to be, because I don't know. I just felt like it was more organic back then, And you guys, we do have time for our little bonus Kanye West topic. So here you go. Basically, he has his line that is currently being sold at the Gap called Yeezy Gap. And he decided that he did not want his line to be on the hangers, and made everybody actually put their stuff in bags. And get this, the customers have to basically dig through the bags to find their size. And the people that work there either won't help you find your size, or they're not supposed to help you find your size. I'm not really sure what the whole point of giving a Goodwill thrift shopping, bin type of vibe is for these clothes, but I mean, how often do different things that Kanye West say or do actually make any damn sense? Not very often, all right? Anywho, you guys, let me know if you guys are buying any of Yeezy's new outfits that are being sold over at the Gap right about now. In the meantime, between time, we're going to go to one more commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to end today's show. We are literally on our way back from Vegas. We had an amazing trip. Got some good interviews coming up for you guys, so definitely stay locked for that.
Look like water on my island. Long way from running from the sirens. Came a long way, been hella fly, I'm a pilot. I get what I want if I like it. Like it, yeah. If I like it. If I like it, yeah. If I like it.
What's up? Converge Media in the building. Yeah.
We're gonna have to come back to Vegas real soon, because it's really lit. Welcome back to Rewind with Besa. Of course, I'm your host, Besa Gordon. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. Look, this is episode 13 of season 2. Very proud of myself for keeping up these daily episodes. But I the takeaways from today, mental illness and people that are driving on the road, like this traveling nurse that had all these mental illnesses was still not only able to be a traveling nurse, sis still had a freaking license. I have so many questions about that. All these damn shootings that we're having across the state. What needs to be done to simmer it down a little bit? Like, does it need to rain again? Like, I don't know. If you guys have any ideas, put that in the chat box. I would love to know some of the things that you guys are trying to do to prevent some of this gun violence. First of all, because honestly, I feel like talking about it and acknowledging it is one thing. I feel like sometimes with Seattle, so many things are just kind of like swept under the rug. So that way Seattle keeps that techie, pristine look. But child, I don't have you been in Belltown lately? Okay, like this city, it looks good on paper. But when you walk around certain parts of downtown, it's a little sketchy. It's a little sketchy, all right? So what do you guys think that can be done about all this gun violence that we have going on out here? Will Young Thug and Gunna ever get out of jail? Because every single day something new seems to be popping up that is getting packed right on top of something else that they already had going on. And do you guys plan on digging through any of those bins to get you some Yeezy wear over at the Gap? Although it's going to be wrinkled because, well, it's just literally thrown in a big old bin. Okay. Would love to hear from you guys about all the topics that I talked about today right here on Rewind with Besa. Until tomorrow, you already know, keep up with me on social media at Besa Gordon. And of course, no matter what goes on today, make sure you keep that energy high.